When Render Ison started Ison Logging Company almost 60 years ago with a couple of mules and a cross-cut saw to cut short pine logs, he could not envision the highly mechanized modern equipment that his son Anthony would be using today to keep the family tradition alive. Things have really changed since you started, and you started with your daddy.
Sure has. When we was youngsters growing up out there, they were trimming limbs off with axes, and now we got a chains beating them off.
Anthony Ison became the official owner of Ison Logging Company in 1997 and promptly bought the very first skidder off the assembly line at the brand new Caterpillar plant in LaGrange, Georgia. He received the Georgia Pacific Piedmont Group Outstanding Logger of the Year 1 year later. In 2000, Anthony began first thinning pine plantations for Hancock Forest Management Incorporated, and that's where he still is today. In 2008, Anthony's son Brandon joined his dad after graduating from Auburn School of Forestry and Wildlife Sciences. When it comes to any logging operation, safety should be the top priority. Anthony has an experience modification rating of 0.80, which means he is doing something right. Anthony requires all employees to wear appropriate PPE, report unsafe conditions and all near misses, inspect and maintain equipment daily, and attend on-site monthly safety meetings.
Here we have our safety manual we do our monthly safety reports in it. We keep up with all our accidents.
Anthony has also made some equipment modifications to make the working environment safer for his operators.
We try to replace the broken glasses with Lexan, and it's safer. If something hits it, instead of shattering the glass or breaking it out, that Lexan may pop out because Lexan is flexible, it'll bend. And instead of it just pop out and it stops whatever's coming.
As an incentive for employees to continue working safely, Anthony provides lunch for his crew every Friday. There are also incentives throughout the year, including annual bonuses and paid holidays. Anthony has first thinning down to a science for his customer, Hancock Forest Management. In fact, first thinnings of pine plantations have become his specialty in the Piedmont soils of East Alabama and West Georgia. Alan Bruce, regional manager for Hancock Forest Management, nominated Anthony for this award.
Here in North Alabama, Hancock came in around 2000 and purchased timberlands here in this area. And immediately we were looking for some loggers that were available to do pine plantation thinnings to help the silviculture of our investments in timberland. And Anthony was well known in the area and had a very good reputation, and so we started working with him in the year 2000, and he's been working for us going on almost 10 years now, and has thinned over 18,000 acres, which has really benefited our forest, and it's really helped our investors grow higher and better products in our stands and improve the quality of our timber. And his productivity has really helped our forest get the actual thinning done in very challenging terrain conditions here.
Harvest planning, residual stand quality, and BMP compliance are critical in first thinnings to help ensure a stand will reach its full potential and optimal value at final harvest for Hancock's investors. It is also a critical component of Hancock's commitment to compliance with SFI standards. Andy Jones, a forester with Hancock, is responsible for on-the-ground management.
He's one of the few loggers that I know will carry a map with him everywhere he goes in his shirt pocket, and he will shade in as he moves from one area to the next. A lot of loggers will just rely on the forester to come out and make sure all the areas are covered. Anthony keeps up with it, and that's a real plus for him on the job, knowing where he's been and completing the job, especially on a big track like this one.
Hancock and Ison use the operator select method to thin pine plantations. That means the cutter operator must know which trees to cut and how many.
A lot of this kind of terrain, you really have to work it by the ridges and the terrain. You can't just follow every fifth row and clear cut it and then try to thin in between. It's too steep. So Anthony specializes, both of his fellow buncher operators, he has two, in doing that free thin style, which if he's on good flat terrain, he can do the fifth row thinning very well. But he really likes to do more of the free thinning in this type of terrain, and that's what we need done.
Anthony complies with all applicable BMPs. Equipment modifications allow him to operate with less environmental impact during wetter months.
Some loggers will run chains in wet weather, others will not. They're pretty expensive to put on the machine, and Anthony has them on his feller bunchers. And that does definitely take care and allows the logger to work longer in wetter times than normal. Even with good tread on a skidder, if you have chains, you have a leg up on being able to use those machines and protect the soil much better to minimize that rutting.
Successfully converting over to strictly first thinning presented some challenges for Anthony, including less production from his skidders and increased wear and tear on his equipment. To solve both problems, Anthony added deliminators to his equipment mix.
We have a chamberless deliminator on site now. We have two of them. One of them was special. Actually, I bought the first one, and it worked real well for us. We run two loaders in our dock, load the truck in the middle, and being we got the wood on both sides, I needed another delimiter to go on the other side for the other loader to feed. And they told me they didn't have one and didn't know what they were going to do. And I got to talking with a guy with a chamberless deliminator, and he came up with a design and built that one for me. And since then, he's changed the trough, the floor and all of them to the way he designed this other one for me. And he's really worked out good for both of us. Before, we had the gate delimiter, so we had to pull the wood around to the gate. A lot of times he was going by the loader, going out there 100 yards, turning the wood around, trying to back it through a gate, coming back to the loader, dropping his wood, going back to the gate, cleaning it out, taking his trash back out in the woods, and back by the loader again. Whereas now when he just drops his wood, he either picks the trash up and goes back, or either he just goes on back and gets another drag of wood. I feel like it has really helped my skidders. My skidders are getting longer life because of the deliminators, because the skidders were made to pull wood with, not to back it. And anybody will tell you that steady backing up and coming to a halt is real rough on a skidder.
Another modification Anthony had to make to keep up his production in this rough terrain was going back to using a shear head.
One reason we went back to the shear head is in this thinning you cannot see a lot of these rocks, some of these bigger rocks, and we do not have to replace all the sawtooth that's on the saw machines. Also, it allows us to sit the actual head on the ground and cut actual on the ground and not leave any of the high stumps. Our problem with higher stumps is coming up some of these inclines, it'll hang the tires on these skidders and it'll hang us up and get us stuck. It also allows us a second or two to look and see what tree we're going to next, instead of just cutting and having to back up and look. While you're cutting that tree off, you're actually looking and seeing where you're going to next.
The majority of Anthony's crew has been with him for an average of 10 years. The low turnover rate with his operators has also given Anthony another advantage: second and third string operators. This enables him to maximize production daily, a vital part of the success with Hancock Forest Management. There are many challenges for the loggers in the current economy. That's why every logger must keep a tight grip on the paperwork side of business. Anthony's wife and vice president of the company, Janet, makes sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed with the bookkeeper, accountant, and truck compliance. The Ison's generosity and mutual respect spills over into the community where they live and they operate. By all estimations, they give back to their logging and farming community far more than they take. Anthony and Janet, along with their daughter Tanya Boone and son Brandon, are a team of champions when it comes to raising money for Children's Hospital in Birmingham through the Log a Load for Kids program.
Back in 1998, we made a trip up to Children's Hospital, and I seen what they were doing, dealing with chips and the children and stuff, and I came back and said that I wanted to get with our loggers here in our area and start an event. And then the very next year, they elected me to be state chair, and I served that until 2009.
Raised quite a bit of money, if I remember correctly, and have done well, and it's been an honor to have you as president. I know you enjoyed your involvement.
I did. It was very heartwarming to see what you were doing for the children up there, and I had a lot of good people under my leadership at the time I served as state chair.
Janet raised over $3 million during her tenure as state chairperson. She is a decorated champion with many awards under her belt. In August 2009, Janet was honored by having a bed in the NICU at Children's Hospital dedicated in her name. The $10,000 bed is literally the life source for many premature babies, a living legacy for her dedication and tenacious fundraising efforts for the Log and Load program. Anthony is also a pillar in his community.
He's very involved. He's been a member of the Alabama Logging Council, I think 10, 11 years on that, and he has served as the state chairperson for the Loggers Council for the 2-year term. He's very active in the American Logging Council. He's active at the church where we attend Mount Zion. He is in the Cattlemen Association, the Farmers Federation, and the fire department, and there's a lot of people around that just think the world of him.
For Ison Logging, it will be the same innovative and creative thinking that they have relied on in the past that will keep these entrepreneurs in business in the years to come.
That back right there.